Hey guys, welcome on in. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a really fun coin ring. I have made something similar to this before, but it's just good to revisit old designs sometimes. So today we're going to be using a large mother of pearl coin bead. And we're going to, I think, use these turquoise simulant rounds that are amazing. You get 10 full strands of these if you want to pick those up. These are the first two that I made a long time ago, and I really enjoy wearing them. This one has the wire going across. This one is just a halo. These black spinel ones are really pretty too. They're kind of hard to see on the prop, but they really sparkle. So if you have any 2, 3, 4 millimeter rounds, they work great for this design. Okay, so we're gonna be using 24 gauge wire, which is a kind of thinner gauge to use for rings, but I actually really like it because it's, I don't know, it's kind of a little bit flexible and it's just comfortable for me. And if you want to use tiny beads, sometimes you got to go down in gauge of wires. So that is what we're going to make today. I've got my ring mandrel here right in front of me. I'm going to try to work this way because I work for this design. It helps to kind of work on the mandrel. So I'm going to be doing that. So I've got my flush cutters. I'm going to get my 24 gauge wire. And I'm going to cut about 2.5 feet. This is just a craft wire. This is a para wire, a non-tarnished, kind of a half-hard craft wire. I'm just smoothing it out. Next, we're going to pick our coin bead. Okay, so slide it onto your wire. I do like an edge for this design, like a coin with a little bit of an edge. It's kind of nice in my opinion. And we're gonna take it over to our mandrel. And it's just, I put it right in the middle of my wire. And I'm gonna work over the size 9 on this mandrel. And that's gonna be around the size it ends up at the very end. So just work over the size you want. And you're gonna wrap both tails going up away from each other. Okay. Don't let your wires cross. I'm gonna do a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 6-layer band, since it is 24 gauge wire, and then you're just gonna kind of crank everything up onto that size 9. Okay. All right, so then if we look from the side, I'm gonna make a little bend right here, just a little bend. I'll grab a tool like this chain nose plier and just make a little bend right here. It's kind of hard to do if you lose the tension, so I usually just use my fingers just to barely push it down. Okay, that worked out fine. Okay. Now bring up your little tails. We're gonna twist a couple of times under this bead. Just like a normal wire wrapped ring so far. Okay, so now this is just technically a basic wire wrapped ring, but now we can add our beads. Cut this little kink out. Okay, So if you want to use these really cool turquoise beads, I'm just going to estimate how much a half circle would be. So that's 3, 6, 7. I'm going to try to do 8 on each little tail. You can just leave it right on the mandrel. Okay, so 6, 7. Your beads. All right. So now I'm going to kind of hold these or bring these around and see if my 8 bead guess was good. I guess I'm going to say that. Let's see. Okay. I actually think I need to just take 1 off of one side. For some reason, 15 is the magic number here. All right, so this is a little bit of a tricky part. I find that the hard thing about this ring is to make it so that the outer beads don't flip up all the time, like this one does, where they just flop up. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a wire, like a little pass back through with the wire. See how that happens a lot with this ring? I've tried it a few different ways, and this is my favorite way to do it. So just hang in there with me. I'm gonna show you this little extra step right here on the mandrel. Just clear some room. And truthfully, okay, I've never taught it this way. This is why I'm trying to form my words about it. But basically what I'm going to be doing is spiraling these around. But before I do anything else, I'm going to kind of tuck it, like loop it in right here, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay. See how I kind of wrapped it behind that one? And then I'll do the same with this one. And so for this one, you kind of have to keep holding your first side tight, and you just have to stick the little end down through that very side corner. Maybe I can turn it a little bit more right here. And I like that because that keeps the first bead of each segment lifted instead of going underneath everything. It keeps everything lifted. Okay, so then once you do that, you just kind of coil behind it a couple of times. I'm definitely running short on wire here, which is kind of scary, but it's okay. Okay, now I'm going to take it off my mandrel. And this is the tiniest little tail left, but we're just now at this point, we're going to make our little normal coils that we do on either side of the ring. I'll go ahead and start with this tiny one. And I'm going to use my bent chain nose plier here to help me out. like so. Trim that off on the inside of your band. Tuck that in. And then go to the other side and do the same thing. I really wish I didn't run out of wire, because you know the little helicopter move I did after I tucked those in, those little corners in, I did that probably 7 or 8 times on my original ring, and it felt a lot. I just liked the extra base that it gave it. So I would suggest starting with more than 2.5 feet if you're gonna try this at home. Trim that off, tuck it in. And then put it back on your ring mandrel to shape it out. You can even grab a little nylon or rawhide mallet to give it some stability as well. So now it's going to be nice and sturdy, and it's just a cute little daisy ring. So that is really, really easy. And I can also show you guys really quick just how to do this one right here, which is really similar, but you're going to go around the coin. So I'm just quickly going to do that one too, since it's the same idea, and that was pretty fast. Okay, 24 gauge wire once again. This feels like enough to me. I mean, this is about 2.5 feet again. Pick your coin. Maybe I'll try using one of these faux pearl beads. Faux pearl coin pearls. Love them. Okay, put that in the middle. And once again, we're gonna go to our mandrel. I'm gonna put it on the size 9 and wrap these tails. One going up, one going down, and then cinch them together. Make a little divot. And do the twist. And I've not tried this with this particular bead, so it may not work. I think it will. Okay, so now I'm going to use the black spinel. Switch it up. I think 4 or 5 on each tail should be enough. So try to pull it off in a little cluster, like in a little line in my hand. Take it off and take it over here. And do 5 on the other side. I was making stretch bracelets with Katie this weekend, and we were like in her living room, and it was kind of darker, but she picked lapis and like dark garnet and black spinel, and she was like, I'm having so much trouble stringing these. And I was like, you literally picked the darkest beads to string. Dark beads can be hard. All right, so we've got those on. Now what we're gonna do is the same thing we did before, except I'm not gonna do that little corner trick. And another little note, I can see, do you see that little piece of wire right here? I'm gonna use that as a little shelf advantage so that when I come this way, I'm gonna rest this on it. And that's gonna keep your beads lifted as well. So do that on both sides as you come around, if you can. I think I can add one more butt spinel to both sides real quick, actually.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, here we go. All right, so then bring those around. Try to get that little leg up on that shelf and wrap. Okay, so the beads definitely, you know, they don't touch. They're not even very close to touching at all. I'm gonna keep going around and spiral carefully up underneath everything a couple times. Oh gosh, that feels, I may have put a little bit too much tension there, but I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna take it off my mandrel and kind of shape it up. Let me look at this. It helps to kind of work from above for these rings, but so that's where we are right now. And this is how this design came about. I did it on accident because I did a little ring around them and there was that extra space. So a great way to hide that mistake or do it on purpose is to wrap the wire across. And I'm gonna grab my little nylon jaw plier, or I'll use the inside of this tool. I think it's nice to make sure your wire is really straight before you wrap it across. Okay, so I've kind of just got everything in my hand. I'm going to start wrapping across. I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be. I'm going to go a couple times with one tail and then a couple times with a different one. I'm going to try to rotate which side of the band I'm going on. Kind of hard it's kind of hard to get it to look good without tension. This is not as beautiful. Well, maybe, you know what? I think it's better with less. The less, the better. The less wraps across, the better, in my opinion. I gotta put this back on my mandrel for just a quick second. Got a little out of sorts. I'm just gonna push these back up a little bit. And maybe helicopter a little more. Sometimes I'm like, that'll just fix everything if I do this more with my rings. Okay, I'm gonna take it off now. And as I wrap across, I'm just gonna do it a few times with one of the sides. I'm gonna go ahead and coil this side down, this tail, and then I'm gonna use the other tail to wrap across just a few times. Trim that off. Tuck it down. Just a regular little coil. Okay. So now I'm going to go across. I'm going to attempt to go across. Clearly not having as much luck as I did the first time. So just go across You can straighten your wire if you want to. 1, 2, and that's be all I can do. Just going around the whole thing, ending on the other side, and I'm gonna wrap that into my coil. That was, it's kind of a wild ride. And I did practice this yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna practice this, but I didn't use this very coin pearl, so maybe it's that. Trim that off with the flat side of your flush cutter. Tuck it down. And then I'm gonna put it back on my little mandrel to reshape it. I was gonna do it later, but I can do it now too. Okay, so that's not too bad. I think I could have added a little bit more black spinel. Something about the composition of that looks funny to me, I think. Here's the other one. I don't know. Something's not right. But anyways, now you can see that you can basically use just like a little wire across your bead to give it a little personality. And it also is a great little mistake hider if you can't get your circle full on that. So, and there's that first ring we did with the mother of pearl and the turquoise beads around the side, which really, that was my main demo for today because I just love that ring. If you need to pick up any of the tools or materials we used today, check out the links in the description below. And while you're there, say hi and let us know what kind of jewelry you like to make. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be alerted for future episodes. Thanks so much. Thank you.